Welcome everyone to another Pixelated review. I'm your host, Pixelated Jordan. So this was supposed to come out October for Halloween. We are now near the end of November in this video. So yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, moving on. This series is named The Demonata by Darren Shan. He's the author of Cirque du Freak. Now, I've said some things before about Cirque du Freak, but overall, I can say I like Cirque du Freak because of the characters and just the whimsical nature of it. It is a YA book, and I do like YA books. Now, this series is a YA horror book, or series. I want you to think about that real quick. YA horror. Alright, so I'm glad we're on the same page here. So yes, this is for your kids to read, or young kids to read, or whatever you want to say. So yeah, and when I mean that I was not prepared for that, I was expecting, I don't know, just violence, but not over the top, I guess, and still be for teens, children, stuff like that, you know? But yeah, this series took a turn that I don't think I was prepared for, but I also don't hate either. It's a very weird scenario there to be in when it comes to the Demonata kind of thing. But that's what we're here for, right? We're here to discuss the series as a whole when I tell you about it. So yeah, let's get started then. So without a further ado, let's start this review.
Book 1, Lord Loss.
So we start with our character named Grubbs Grady. I honestly did not know that could be or is a real name, but apparently it is. So do that with what you will. Anyway, this is a pretty simple adventure at first. Just got a teen boy just being gross and being a teen boy. His parents send him away, and they're all crying and stuff, and it's because of something that they're not letting on about. But once he goes back to the house, because he's all like, well, I didn't mean to do what I did, because plot. Lord Loss is there, and he met a massacre. Yeah, it was a bloody massacre, and they describe it in a book, and I'm just sitting here listening to it like, is this allowed for YA? Are you allowed to do this in YA? Is this allowed? And it's all like, you know, I'm like going shocked, like, wait, but adult books, but because there's adult books that do get violent with stuff like that, but I think it's because I thought of it like as a YA book, so I treat it as a YA book to get this shock value kind of came out of nowhere, at least as far as I was thinking. But afterwards, he does go into a psychiatric ward, you know, being crazy because he's saying demons exist and no one believed him, and he also flew for a little bit, so there's also that. But anyway, plot. He gets out. He's with his uncle. His uncle tells him about a little bit more about the Demonata and this ritual, or that comes later technically. But point is though, there's a ritual going on, and his family deals with chess and all that stuff. So, and it was pretty cool to see that. And then there was this other friend named Billy, Bille, just say Billy. He has this weird little plot point of him being related, and they don't know about it. But whatever. But he has the curse that the Gradys are known for, and yeah, and that is a whole thing. And that's kind of where we get to the end, where they have to defend off against Lord Loss's minions, 2 minions, mind you, and then one person has to play chess. So it's just kind of this back and forth kind of thing. I really did enjoy the fight where it took playing chess to beat the bad guy. I like that. And they win, but there was a second round, I guess, and someone has to go to the Demonata realm to go play Lord Loss in there. And it could take years, it could take days. Demonata time works differently, because that is definitely weird. But yeah, overall, this book is like something I wasn't expecting, and I really did enjoy. It's just that it threw me off guard, and I did not know how to take it, so it kind of threw me a little weird off, but I do like when it was implemented. So with that being said, for Lord Loss I give it a rating of... Check it out.
Book 2, Demon Thief.
In Book 2, we take our point of view character named Colonel. Yes, his name is Colonel. It's not Grub Grady. It's Colonel. Alright, now we got used to that. Now that came out of nowhere. Now we're going to move on. Point is, Demon Thief is a lot of fun. So one of the things that I pointed out that I was saying that it is a YA book. Well, it does the YA trope. It has these bands of misfits fighting off the said villain thing of the whole series. And they are the disciples. And they're introduced in the most messed up way. It's this old lady literally blows up, and then this great demon comes out of nowhere, steals Colonel's brother because reasons, and then whisks him away. And then the disciples show up, and as this is going on, the demon's killing like multiple people. It's quite insane. Anyway, point is that this was a lot of fun. Like, we not only got to explore the Demonata realm itself, we got to explore some of the magic that's within the universe. But then again, a lot of people die pretty brutally. So, it's such a weird thing, but I actually had a lot of fun because we got to explore some of the realm as well as just kind of expand the world of the Demonata. And it was a lot of fun. Then once it reached to that point about the Demonata's time working differently, which I think is definitely one of the weakest points in the series. It's been 6 years since he's been gone when he was looking for his brother. His parents moved on and all that stuff, and it's kind of just that. So at the end of the series, they talk about, he goes back to with the disciples, even though he didn't want to, but he's like, okay, there's no point in me staying with them. They moved on, they can't live with me like this. So he moved on, become a disciple, and they're looking for the Kargosh. So that's gonna play a role for sure. So pay attention to that. So this one was a lot of fun. Like I said, YA book. Tropes were used, and then it was brutal, expanded the universe, and I had a lot of fun. So, with that being said, I give Demon Thief a rating of... I recommend it.
Book 3, Slaughter.
In Book 3, we take place with Grubs now. We're back to Grubs. Yeah, that's right. So they like to switch protagonists in this series. I really like Colonel in the last one. I liked his story a lot better than Grubs in his first outing. But now we're back to Grubs. And when I was looking at some other reviews, because I was just kind of curious, it seems like people don't really like this one. And their main complaint was because it's cheesy. For me, that was absolutely something I love. It's what I think Darren Shan does best. It's something I find fun, and Slaughter was just a whole lot of action horror fun. I really did. So this basically takes place on a movie set of a town called Slaughter, and everyone gets slaughtered in there. And the twist of the whole book, for the book, is that the director was working with the Demonata to create this film, so their people actually died in the movie. So, pretty messed up if you ask me. But there was a lot of fun in this thing. There were some moments where I kind of thought, okay, this is kind of weird. Okay, that's kind of weird. Okay, that's kind of whatever. But overall, when it comes to how the book was and how much fun it was just having, just throwing everything to the wall, these demons happening, these Demonata doing stuff to things. Lord Lost shows up. Oh yeah, Lord Lost was in the second book, so get used to Lord Lost after this. But after that though, it was a lot of fun. The only thing I kind of wished is that the disciples were there, because I had a lot of fun with the disciples, and that was the thing that I felt was lacking in this series. At least in this book right here, was the lack of disciples, because I had so much fun with the disciples that them not being there kind of sucks. But overall, I did enjoy the whole Slaughter thing, and how cheesy it was made me love it even more. So that's why I think Slaughter is a little underrated in the series, because it's just a lot of fun, and a lot of people are just giving it crap for I don't know what reason. I really liked it. The horror I thought was good, the gore was great, and then the action was awesome. Lord Lost, he's Lord Lost, so that's the thing I could do. So, and I did like it a lot, and I did forget to mention, someone did sacrifice himself in the second book. That does play a tie-in later, so just be ready for that. So now we have a new cast to our member. I can't remember her name. Jubilee? I think her name was. But yeah, she's in the cast member now. She's cool. Like her. She's very cute, apparently. So yes, we'll continue on with that. Anyway. Now, for Slaughter, I give it a rating of... check it out.
Book 4. Beck.
In book 4, we take our point of view character as Beck. Yeah, that's right. Her nickname is Beck. There's this little guy named Runfast. Absolutely love him. Plays a good role later, so let's move it on from that. So one thing I really like about the series thus far, every part of the series has expanded the world. For example, book 1 revealed the Demonatas to us. Book 2 were about windows, and windows are little portals that you can jump to the Demonata universe, and that's why Cardinal's so special, because he can see these windows and put them together. Third book in Slaughter was the explanation of tunnels. And this one takes place in the past with the character, like medieval past, with the character named Beck about an already open tunnel. I didn't like this one as much. I don't know if it was the setting itself about it being medieval, it maybe what threw me off or something like that. I wasn't for sure what it was, but I did not like that. Beck is a strong character. It's just that I wasn't fully invested in her story. She kind of threw me off. Also, Lord Loss was there. Thought I'd let you know. So even though there's a lot of tension in this story, I just didn't enjoy the whole story as it went on for some reason. It felt little Tunnels were cool. Run Fast was awesome. Beck was okay. And that's kind of the thing. This is the part where I'm like, it's kind of middling for me. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't something I thought it was, oh, it's so amazing. Because we already got our tunnel explanation. This one shows the aftermath of that, but oh well. Because of how, what's his name? Lord Lost is a Grandmaster Demon or something like that. Grandmaster Demonata. And he needs a tunnel to go across through, but also not at the same time. So that's a whole thing too. But this one was a fine adventure, I guess, for the most part. It didn't really go anywhere for me that I would have loved so much, but it was all right. So for that, I'll give Beck a rating of meh.
Book 5. Blood Beast.
In Blood Beast, we have another new character who doesn't live that long. Basically, Billy and Grubbs are trying to live their life normally, even after all the Demonata events that they have witnessed. But it's such a low-stake plot for the most part. It was kind of middling for the most time. There was a kid, I can't remember the kid's name, and he's kind of a big point, but he's a bully to Billy. And they wanted to find this cave because they're talking about a treasure of gold, childish stuff. And, well, they find this big old cavern and stuff. And Grub is kind of going through this transformation that we know about from Billy. So that's something going on for the plot. Also, there's a thing called lambs, and lambs are people who help the Grady's kill or use them as experiments for the werewolf side of things. Anyway, Billy kills this kid. It's so obvious. I knew it was gonna happen that Billy killed this kid. They're in the cavern. Grubbs is like, oh man, I feel so. I'm like, oh, I'm good. I feel so sick. And then all of a sudden, they went to explore by themselves, and well, kid dropped from the high ceiling and he died. The thing that made me go like, oh, you should probably tell your uncle, who is a disciple. He probably knows what's going on. Guess what? Blood from the kid that died was gone. I'm just saying, you probably should have thought about that, but nope, didn't tell his uncle. Anyway, when after kind of that whole shtick right there happened, we kind of move away from that, and because it's talked about as if it's a tunnel, and there was a lady in there who's telling them to get out, but they don't understand language, and that will come to play later. But point is though, after that, it gets to the blood beast section technically, which is the werewolf section. They summoned the lambs. Someone did. I can't remember who. The lambs were summoned, and he was let go by Jubilee before the lambs take him, and they went off together for a little bit, I think, and then we reached to a climactic end, I guess you could say, inside a airplane. So that was kind of a fun thing. So overall, it was a cool experience. Just was underbaked for the most part, but I did find the werewolf stuff fun, and I did find Billy's killing somebody. I knew that was gonna happen, and at the end we do get our disciples back, which I was so grateful for. So in the end, it's alright, but I do like Rubs Grady more as a character, so I did like this journey overall. So that being said, Blood Beast gets a rating of, check it out,
Book 6, Demon Apocalypse.
So in Demon Apocalypse, we take place after the airplane stuff, and that's when we get our main disciple back, and he was cool, and we get Colonel back, which was also really cool. But Colonel is a bit bitter, so he's not the same character that I liked for where he was in the second book. But also fighting for years in the world. I think I think it makes sense of how you could be so bitter. You know what I mean? Anyway. The point is though, this was a really fast kind of book, and predictable book at that too. So, almost predictable. So when they go back to the tunnel place, things are actually opening up, and things are getting pretty bad, and demons are kind of taking over the world. Because obviously, who killed that kid in there? Billy did, and no one figured it out somehow. Anyway, they get in there. Beck does some voodoo magic stuff, and the Kargosh is talked about too. And then they are time traveled back to where the magic first started for the tunnel when it's gonna be opening. So, come to find out, well, one, Jubilee is the bad guy. That was already revealed at the end of the fifth book. And then she was a friend of Colonel back in the second book. So that was a whole big reveal. And then we get to this part here where they time traveled. They do their rickety stuff, trying to fight Lord Lost and his minions from stopping this tunnel to be open. And then they say, oh yeah, the only way to close a tunnel, which is explained in the fourth book, that you have to kill the person who opened it or who gave a sacrifice. In this case, who is it gonna be? Billy. And Billy tried to say, oh, it was an accident. I didn't mean to kill him. You let that poor kid just suffer like he slipped and you let him die. You could have saved him. You held out your hand and then you took it away. Yeah, that was your fault, Billy. Point is though, they had to kill him, so the uncle and Grubbs were looking at him just like they don't want to kill him because obviously his family, but they decided to Grubbs at least did. He's like, to make a quick death using his magic, he just shocked his heart with a lot of electricity to kill him quickly. And then the tunnel's closed. Lord Lost is still be a petty little demon, nada he is. So in that time, the essence that was in there that was helping them fight and help them time travel took over Billy's body, and we find out it is Beck and is slowly morphing into Beck's original body before she died. So that was a thing, which I did forget to mention. She did die in the tunnel to save Run Fast, and that's the big thing too. Run Fast is the leader of the disciples, so that's pretty fun. But yeah, Other than that, though, really fun story. It's really predictable. A lot of twists and turns that were revealed, which I can say, definitely made the book a lot better. But yeah, this was a fun book, and honestly, it felt like an end almost. But it's not, though, as you know. So, what happens next? We're gonna find out. So, with that being said, I will give Demon Apocalypse a rating of... Check it out.
Book 7, Death's Shadow.
So at the end of the last book, we left it off where they sealed off the tunnel, but before they did, they saw a weird dark creature that is beyond stronger than any Grandmaster Demonata that they have seen. So, what is it? Who knows? What is his plot? We don't know yet. So this is where it takes place. Our point of view character in this one would be Beck. Beck is our point of view character as of right now. And the plot's kind of okay in the beginning. It's very boring for me at the beginning. It's a fish out of water story at first, because Beck is trying to just kind of reconnect in society in a weird way. She's going back to school because she died when she was like 16, I think it was. And, just medieval times, also dealing with a bunch of magic, Demonata, stuff like that. So that was a thing. And, even though after all that is said and done, we do lead into later on to the story where things are actually building up. So they go to the hospital because, they got attacked, I think, by the lambs. And then they go to the hospital for Grubbs' uncle because he's having a heart attack. And then once they get there and all that stuff, there's a whole plot going on here where people are being separated. So Colonel and Beck and Runfast will go together to do their own thing, and Grubbs, his uncle, will be going into the Demonata universe to do their own thing. And when they have magic, you can make yourself feel better, so the uncle's able to fight on as long as there's magic around. Demonatas give magic, and all that good stuff. You know the usual. Well, now you know the usual. Point is, it doesn't get that much interesting until we get to the climax of the story, where they fight Death's shadow. And Death took a form. It's probably because of, Beck. She kind of the reason all this kind of started, because she didn't die, and Death's like, I don't like that. So he got pissed off. Death ended up having a form, and Runfast was a demon. And I did like that. There were like little flashbacks to his youth in this one. And they went to go fight and all that stuff. And yeah, it was pretty terrifying. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I did lie to you guys. Grubbs went to the Demonata at the beginning, but he's going to a different place for his ancestors, for the wolf side of things. So that's gonna be a fun thing. And so overall, the story at the beginning and middle part really were kind of boring, but it kind of recovered at the end because we saw Death's shadow, and that was crazy. And then Runfast died. That was a big hit. And then at the end too, Colonel disappears too. Like, he just disappeared out of nowhere. So it's leading up to this kind of event where these characters are having different things happen at the same time. So it's really cool to see it. And I didn't like this one. And I think it's just because I don't like Beck as a character that much, like everyone else. But that just comes to personal preference at that point. But overall, really liked the climax. Totally worth it. It was good. So, with that being said, Death Shadow gets a rating of... Check it out.
Book 8, Wolf Island.
So after the events of the 6 books, it does take place after that. They're fighting in the Demonata, trying to discover what this shadowy creature was. Anyway, after they do, they have that middle section going to the hospital and all that good stuff, and they split apart. And that's where the majority of this book takes place afterwards, on Wolf Island. Wolf Island was a lot of fun. It was a bit tricky to understand at sometimes because they thought it was the lambs, but the lambs weren't in charge because it was actually Lord Loss, because of course it's Lord Loss. Point is though, they do get to Wolf Island from all the Grady's that are there. And it gets to a really cool part for Grubbs, because Grubbs was my second favorite, but he slowly grew on me because he ended up having more of the, screen time technically. And even though Colonel was my favorite from the second book, he dipped off because, he got bitter later, and it makes sense. But Grubbs here, he just grew into a better character, and not only did he let this Kargosh, because these three characters have the Kargosh in them, 3 parts, and because it's all throughout the whole series, these Kargosh is speaking to these kids, telling them how they can use it or maybe think about it before they do. And now the Kargosh is telling them, hey, you should just let it go. Work together with your beast. Because they're about to get mauled. Everyone, like a lot of people already died at this point. They're about to be mauled. And he transforms into a werewolf that he can control as a werewolf and man at the same time. And it is such a cool scene. And he did take over the island to stop these guys. And he does lose against Jubilee for the majority of the time. She was going to kill him, but then she realized, oh, you're going to destroy the world, Grubbs. I'm going to watch it happen when you destroy the world. It's going to be great. And he's seen the vision too. Now he knows the vision. Now he doesn't know what to do because now he's like, am I the problem now? So I do like where it led up to, and this was definitely a lot of fun. A lot of middling parts for sure, but I like the fact that Grubbs grew into himself, grew into his character, and became a beast, and he is awesome, and I really like Grubbs right now. So keep it going, Grubbs. I absolutely love what you're doing there. So, with that being said, I will give Wolf Island a rating of, check it out,
Book 9, Dark Calling.
So, we do take place after the 6th one, again. We do get a little bit of Grubbs, and then we get a little bit of, Beck after that. And they do go take place after the, we find out it's Death's Shadow. And then Colonel goes on his adventure. His adventure is nothing but an exposition dump with primordial beings. These creatures that tell him about literally everything about the universe. And how everything in the universe is a chessboard, technically. So, let that sink in, flat earthers. Point is, though, it's such a big exposition dump, and even all these primordial, basically, demons, too, they exist. They are far stronger than Lord Lost himself, and that, too. So, everything that happened at this point, this refugee place that's meant for mages to be there and then defend any Demonata. And as a matter of fact, Demonatas are roaming the universe as we speak. They are taking over planet after planet, but they are patient as anything you can think of, and they take over planets. So Demonata exists regardless. Anyway, after all that exposition, we finally get to the fun part of things, where we do leave Grub Grady's last, where he was in the middle of his fight. He does go on for it. They do fight in there, and it's a lot of fun. They're going after windows, tunnels, and doing everything they can to try to stop the Demonata invasion. And they're failing a bit because they just can't get anywhere. And and at this point, poor Grubbs Grady, Colonel, he's gone through a lot. He lost his eyes twice. In the 6th books, he got stabbed by this scorpion Demonata. Put bugs in his eggs in his eyes, started eating his head in the inside. He was blind for a little bit until he went to Demonata universe to create new eyes. So in the end, they went to go confront Lord Lost once more. And, Beck seems to be hugging Lord Lost as if he cherishes him. So this kind of turns into a big old thing. Colonel tells Grubbs, hey man, I made my attempt. I'm going to go to the refugee camp and try my best to hold off there. And then that's about it. And he's got to move a whole planet, mind you, if things go bad over there. Grubbs like, okay, cool. And then he rips out his eyes and tells him, no, you're staying here with me. Sorry, gonna need you. So, oh well. So that was a big old thing right there. I do discover how to quote-unquote stop Death in a sense. Run Fast was in Death's body, and Death didn't know they were in his body, so that was also a weird plot point. Point is, though, there's not a real way to kill what is already killed, I guess you could say. And they have to rethink of how like to put him. They just have to put him back and not be able to control anybody. And that was the hard part right there. So now that Beck is gone and Lord Lost seems to be in control, we now have Grubs and Colonel on their own trying to figure out what are we gonna do with this evasion. So, and that's where we're at. So, with that being said, I'll give The Dark Calling a rating of... check it out.
Book 10, Hell's Heroes.
After everything we have gone through, after every fight that we have fought, after everything that we have known, and it all ends in a reset. I think Darren Shan loves resets. The reason I say that is because he had one in Cirque du Freak, and he had another one in this one. Anyway, before I do rant off about that one, overall the plot was very simple. Just get to Beck, kill Beck, do that. At first that was the whole plan. Things kind of went up in flames. Beck's acting obviously like she's out of control. We get to a point into the story where they're trying to get out, or at least now they're trying to say, okay, maybe we are at a lost cause. Maybe we have to actually use the refugee place. And Beck finds the place. So, and it's because she can read people's memories, part of Kargash kind of things, and death is now part of her. So, what is to do? What can we do? Well, this was whole part of the plan of Beck and Lord Lost. Yes, that's right, because the tunnel is open. All these big old different Demonatas that are stronger than Lord Lost, they didn't even know that was a thing, were coming into Earth, and the best thing they can do was to reset the time. And they do. The Kargash in them fuses into one again, and they reset the universe. So technically Grubs was the trigger to allow this to happen, and so technically he did destroy the world, but he resetted it. So every one of them, so all three of them are together in the sand, and they kind of talk about what's going on, how they're going to do the reset. They got millenniums to think about this and all that stuff. And they talk about resetting a few things, setting things right so we don't have to deal with Demonata like this again. They did talk about, oh, you can't just kill them all, blah, blah, you know, they're just people too. Lord Lost exists as a devil on Earth, so they can be a devil because you have to have yin and yang, and blah, 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 and blah. Which kind of sucks, because it was leading up to something that could have been even bigger to actually stop an unstoppable force, which I was looking forward to, but we did end up getting a reset instead, which kind of sucks. Like I said, this is like what he did in Cirque du Freak. Oh well. Anyway, the journey was still fun though. I can't argue that, and it's just that I wish that, I don't know, maybe we had something different at the end. So, with that being said, I will give Hell's Heroes a rating of meh.
In conclusion,
I don't like how it ended the way that it did. Cirque du Freak did the same thing, not resolving its main conflict and resetting the whole timeline itself. Does it make sense how I did it in Cirque du Freak? Yes. Does it make sense how it does it here? Yes. But I don't like it. That's all the problem. But I cannot say that Demonata is a whole new experience that I've never thought YA books can be. And it's an experience. It's so much fun, and yet different, and yet not really what you expect it to be at the end. But I actually had a lot of fun with this series, more than I thought I would. It's a series that I can't compare to anything else. It's such a unique telling that I don't know how to compare it to any other story out there because of how weird and how just different it is. It truly is one of the most unique books I've ever checked out, or unique series I'd say I've ever checked out and so far in my life. So yeah, and honestly that's the thing too. I love the beginning because the world was just building and building and building. It just felt like every book felt natural of implementing new systems into the game, so that way we know what's going on. Then we get to the end of 6, and then we get to this big climactic kind of thing. And usually, a lot of books do that. They start off small, they end up in a really big cataclysmic world-ending event. And that's fine. A lot of stories do that. But I guess it's how you finish it and how you resolve your conflict I guess is the better thing. This one is an unresolved conflict, and I kind of feel like about it. But can I say I hate it? No, because I really did like it. Grubbs is now my favorite character in the series. Colonel sadly fell off. Beck I just never got attached to, so I really couldn't say much about her. But as far as Demonata goes, it was a lot of fun. Lord Loss, he's intimidating. He absolutely is. I just kind of wish we saw more Demon Masters is my problem. I understand why he exists and why he's there. He just sits at the benchmark saying, oh yeah, he's really not that strong actually, compared to the others. So, as much as I get it, I don't like it, but I get it though. And Lord Lost was an intimidating villain, definitely at the first 3 parts he was in. I definitely will admit that he was very intimidating. I do like his characteristics, how he is. Just that, I kind of wish there was more. But overall, definitely, if they're looking for something with demons and surprisingly YA, honestly, I recommend this one. It's such a weird story. Such a weird series that I think you might find some fun with it like I did. So, with that being said, I'm gonna rate the Demonata series. And it gets a rating of... check it out. Thank you for watching. Hi, I want to thank you guys all for watching again. I really do appreciate it. And if you want to see more videos, I'll have that over here to the playlist to the side here. Also, did you know I too am an author? That's right. If you like ghosts and the paranormal and young adult novels, well, I have you covered in my book called Unborn Ghost. It is right now available for both paperback, ebook, and audible. So, if you want to check it out, it would be linked down below. And as always, if you want to see more stuff like this, just check out the links here. Thank you guys all for watching, and have a great day.